shrapnel is probably hurting some people.
Definitely stabbing now.
And remember, these are all 18-year-old conscripts, alright? This is World War One.
Yeah.
Some of them are probably
Yeah,
16.
this is the end of World War One. These are just like school teachers and librarians and shit.
It's just lucky for the British that, you know, American man who's on their team happened to bump into her first.
Imagine if it was a German who
Jesus Christ.
This is what I mean.
Fuck that guy.
With how this went, a German guy could have washed up on Themyscira.
And she would just as easily believe that they were the
Yep.
good guys.
He has like no understanding of this conflict whatsoever.
No, that's what I mean. There was no decision made that was like...
With my dying breath, I curse the French.
What the fuck? Oh, what? I died, didn't I?
You're a man.
Well, I won't be for long if you don't take your knee off my ball. Dankeschön. Where are we?
Themyscira.
Themyscira. You guys aren't with the intent, are you?
Who are you?
Listen, girl. Listen, I'm a Prussian officer. I can't be seen talking to half-naked peasant chicks. Take me to your leader. Oh, by the way, could you please retrieve my visor cap from the wreckage, please?
What?
Bitte?
Hey, thanks for retrieving my cap. Just look at this. My mouse is all wet. I don't think this thing can even fire. Oh my god!
No!
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to.
No! I'm happy. I'm happy.
Is he alright?
I am through. The time has come. You must fight.
Jesus.
Time has come. Nowhere. Nowhere. Go. Act.
acting school. Please, no.
No, 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 no.
Acting school, burn.
And why are you laughing like that?
We should kill him now.
Whoa, 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 easy people, easy.
If he dies, we know nothing about who he is and what he wants here.
Listen to the noob in here, listen to the noob. Wait. Why are you black?
Are you a racist?
Just how far south am I?
What? What is your mission?
But I can only give you my name, rank, and serial number.
The lasso of Hestia compels you to reveal the truth.
What the hell is a lasso? Of this thing? Yeah, right. You know, you're cute, but you could have bigger boobs. Wait, this crap really works?
It is painful to resist.
Yeah, I'm oppression, we don't do kink. Besides, I have a fiancé back in Breslau, okay? But thanks, but no thanks.
What is your mission?
Fine. I'm Captain Ulrich von Santen. I'm with the German Imperial Air Service, currently assigned to just the 25 out of the Macedonian front, fighting in the current war. My serial number is... I don't remember my serial number, sorry.
War. What war?
What do you mean, what war? The war. The Great War. The Great War between the great powers. It was in all the newspapers. We haven't had one in 100 years. It started more than 3 years ago. It was supposed to be over by Christmas, you know, like all wars usually are, but it bogged down in trench warfare. With the advantage defensive weaponry has, as with the great strategic stalemate between the powers, it has just dragged on and on. It's been hundreds of thousands, millions of soldiers dead. And with the British blockade and famine and all the rest, millions of civilians as well. There hasn't quite been a war like this in ever, with no signs of ending. We've knocked Russia out of the war, but then the Americans got in, so everything is the same. We don't know when this will be over. Western civilization will probably never recover. Yeah, one more thing. Why is she black? I mean, I don't want to be that guy. I mean, we have Askaris, African soldiers fighting for us in East Africa. But isn't this Greece? How did she...
She was made from black clay.
Black clay, right. You ask stupid questions, you get stupid answers, right?
What to do now, my queen?
We cannot afford to get entangled in this war.
I cannot hold him forever, my queen.
Mother, excuse me, but after everything the man said, this must be Ares. What the F are you talking about? Forgive me, Senator, but the man called it a war without end. Millions of people already dead, like nothing he's ever seen. Only Ares could do such a thing. Oh, Lordy, Lord. We cannot simply let him go. We must go with him.
This war is none of our business. We have no obligation to join their war.
It is not their war. Zeus created man to be just and wise, strong and passionate.
This has nothing to do with men, Diana. The great powers are greedy and corrupt.
Yes, but Ares is behind that corruption. It is Ares who has these Germans fighting. And stopping the god of war is our foreordinance.
What the hell is a foreordinance?
As Amazons, this is our duty.
The gods have nothing to do with this. There is nothing to be done. And that is that.
Stupid ass girl.
Have you got any news for me? Can I leave this cave?
What's that?
Of this. This is my pilot badge.
A watch?
No, badge. You have a weird accent. Means I can fly. Oh, this? This is my Iron Cross first class. I got it from the Kaiser after I threw a grenade into a trench and killed 15 Russian soldiers. And then the grenade exploded and killed another 15. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. Am I free to go or what?
I tried, but...
Yeah, I suspected as much.
I even asked them to send me with you.
You? Why?
We are the bridge to a greater understanding between all men.
Well, they sure do need more understanding out there.
Would you
explain how all of this war started? Yeah, sure. It's gonna take a while though. Well, it all started a little something like this. More specifically, in Serbia, back in 1903. That year, there was a military coup that overthrew King Alexander and Queen Draga, and they were both murdered. Quite frankly, they had it coming. Trust me, I'm a monarchist, so if I'm saying it, it's because it's true. The guy was a douche. A new dynasty and government were put in place. The problem was, the conspirators were given key positions in counterintelligence and the military staff, from which they could not be dislodged by the civilian government that followed, that were always scared that they could be overthrown as well. The next event came in 1908, when the Young Turks took power in the Ottoman Empire, and the autonomous Bulgarians seized the opportunity to declare independence. All this turmoil was seen as an opportunity by Alexander Ivolsky, who was the Russian foreign minister. He contacted his counterpart in the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, Count Alois Arendal, and made him a proposal. Austria-Hungary would annex Bosnia-Herzegovina, which it had been occupying for the past 30 years, and Russia would not oppose it. In return, Austria would side with Russia next time the question of the Straits was discussed. The question of the Straits dated back from the Crimean War, after which the Russians were forbidden to take warships out of the Black Sea. This of course hindered any Russian power projection, because those were the only all year-round ice-free harbors she had. And so Austria-Hungary annexed Bosnia-Herzegovina. However, things did not go according to plan for Ivolsky. Not only did the British refuse to review the Straits question, there was a great backlash back home from the pan-Slavists that supported Serbian expansion. The backlash was so severe that Ivolsky had to say that he was fooled by the Austrians. In the end, Austrian diplomatic relations with both Russia and Serbia were severely damaged. Nationalists in Serbia were infuriated. They expected to annex Bosnia-Herzegovina themselves, as the territory had a large Serbian population. But at the moment they were still too weak to do anything about it. However, something unexpected came about some years later, in 1911, by none other than the Italians themselves, or, as I like to call them,
the worst allies ever.
Moving on. That year, and without consulting our allies, the Austrians and us, Italy launched a war of aggression against the Ottoman Empire. Still smarting from their defeat in Ethiopia 15 years before, the Italians expected an easy victory by invading Ottoman Libya. And they got that. Unfortunately, that defeat was also the signal for the Balkan states to ally themselves and pounce on Turkey. The outcome of the two Balkan wars, first the allies against Turkey, and then all of them against Bulgaria, who tried to bite more than she can chew, was a change in the status quo in the Balkans. This made Serbian nationalists, organized in secret societies, much more active in the plotting of Serbian expansion, at the expense of Austria-Hungary, of course. Then came July 1914. The Austrian heir to the throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, was murdered at Sarajevo, together with his wife, by a young Serbian nationalist. The tragic thing is, the Archduke was a reformer, and he actually wanted to give the Slavs in the empire an equal say, together with the Germans and the Hungarians. Of course, Serbian nationalists would have none of that. If the Serbs were to receive equal status in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, there would be no Greater Serbia. I mean, why to settle for a small ethno-state, when you can be part of a great multinational empire? You know. Preliminary investigations led the Austrians to believe that the Serbians were in some capacity responsible for the assassination. This was seen as a golden opportunity for Austria to cut Serbia down to size, and thus strengthen her own position. So of course we gave Austria a blank check. A short, fast, localized war seemed to be the best solution. Sadly, it was not to be. You see, Austria-Hungary isn't one country. It's two countries. So, before war was declared, the Austrian foreign minister, Berthold, had to get permission from the Hungarian prime minister, Count Tisza. The Hungarians were dead center against any annexation of new territories, because, you know, new territories, new minorities, new problems. After being assured that that would not happen, they agreed. Again, sadly, when this was achieved, the French president, Poincaré, was visiting the Russians in St. Petersburg. So it was decided it was better to wait until that gathering was over to actually issue an ultimatum to Serbia. Because the last thing you want is for them to formulate a joint plan of action against your ultimatum. But when this was finally done, the French and the Russians had probably already made their plans, and things just went from bad to worse. The text of the ultimatum seemed moderate, but in fact there is no way the Serbians would ever agree. Specifically with the article that demanded that Austrian officials took part in the investigation. The Serbs sought Russian support, and as we now know it, got it, despite the fact that the Russians had no treaty obligation whatsoever to do so. That should tell you something. Apparently the Russians started mobilizing immediately, even before the Austrians had any chance to do so. When that became apparent, we demanded that they stop, which of course they didn't. We declared war, but of course it was obvious that the French would not stand still. Of course the French actually welcomed the war. They had never gotten over their defeat in the Franco-Prussian War, nor the loss of status as the most preeminent power in Europe. Hell, they still have Alsace-Lorraine in their official maps, marked in black. You know, there's a reason why the word revanchism comes from the French word revenge. Just telling you. Anyway, the prospect of a two-front war meant that we needed to focus our forces against one enemy before turning on the other. As Russia's huge size meant she could always trade space for time, France would always be the primary target. Our plans for a fast victory against France, unfortunately, demanded that we use Belgian territory to get to their capital, Paris, as fast as possible. So we gave Belgium a 24-hour ultimatum and guarantees that their territory will be restored after the war. But they used that time to prepare their defenses. Our progress through Belgium was delayed by that resistance, and when we finally battled the French in French soil, we were halted at the Marne, and the war bogged down in trench warfare. And to make matters worse, our violation of Belgian neutrality gave the British an excuse to join the ranks of our enemies. They were undecided until then, having put themselves in a corner, diplomatically speaking, by assuming military and naval commitments with the French without Parliament approval, but that gave them the justification they needed to sell the war to public opinion. The British blockade, which by the way is both immoral and illegal, started to bite immediately. Fortunately, we got the Ottomans on our side, and that cut off Russia from the Western allies, and put us all on a great strategic stalemate. And that's how we all ended up here, in this fine ugly mess.
Thank you.
So, are you sure you want to come?
I wish to go. But my mother will not allow it.
Well, she's not wrong, you know. Wars always seem glorious for those who have never actually been in one.
Why do you want to go back?
Because it is my duty. I am a soldier after all. Besides, I have no ill will towards the peoples in the Allies, except the French and the Serbs and maybe the Italians. But the fact is, a good soldier doesn't fight out of hate for what is in front of him, but out of love for what is behind him. And in the end of the day, it is your country after all. Someone has to root for the home team, right? I mean, so are you sure you can help me? Where are you going? Goddamn vegetation. Jeez. What? Damn, what do they feed these girls here?
That's ancient masonry, you know.
The door was open. Are we ready to go?